Hey! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Well, my name is Jeremy, aka, well, come on! It's your boy, IPG, Red, Purple, Gold. Now, before we get into this episode today, I just wanted to be able to take this time, as I always do, to be able to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't had a chance to do so already. Also, make sure to like the video, give it that thumbs up, because it definitely does help. In addition to that, right down there below us, right down there in that comment section, make sure and feel free to leave any comments that you guys might like, because it's definitely the best way to be able to get that dialogue started back and forth. And last but not least, ding dong, it's the bell gang, ladies and gentlemen. You know how I love to say it. Make sure and hit that notification bell so that each time that I put up a brand new piece of content, you can be able to go and be the first to be notified, and you can check out that video whenever you would like. Well, you guys, I wanted to be able to come with this new video today to be able to sort of expand a little bit on kind of an aspect of the topic that I was talking about when I did the Father's Day episode, just, you know, kind of giving a huge shout out to my dad and letting him know how much I love him and just, you know, giving him that, you know, extra special kind of thank you, especially because it's Father's Day. But I wanted to be able to expand on something that I talked about in that video, which was what we were doing in the Tri-Cities when I was there for overall Father's Day weekend, but we were there for our annual wine weekend. And so I wanted to be able to tell you guys about this because this is something that we've been doing for several years, and it's just such a fun overall event. It's a weekend that I look forward to every year since we've started doing it. And I just kind of wanted to be able to, you know, do a little story time with you guys and kind of, you know, give you some of the background and just let you know why that overall weekend is just such a fun time and just so important to me in a general way. So, guys, when I was a senior in college, I was at Eastern Washington University near the Spokane area in Washington. So, go Eagles. And, so this was my senior year when I was in college, and I was the president of the Public Relations Student Society of America, or PRSSA. And so when I was in school, and I think I've talked about this previous, but when I was in school, I have, my degree is in communications with an emphasis in public relations, with 2 minors in marketing as well as journalism. So during that time frame and when I was going to school, I was doing a lot of work around communications and doing a lot of writing. And that was a big aspect of my degree, my major, and, you know, just what I was so involved with in school. And like I said, I was the president of the PRSSA Society at Eastern Washington University. And my senior year, I had been invited to this like gala thing that was downtown in Spokane because I was a member of PRSSA. And so I was there as a guest, and this was like a PRSA, so the Public Relations Society of America, so not the student part, but the actual overall larger organization. I was there and invited as a guest because I was part of the student organization on campus. And I went to this gala event, and it was kind of one of those where they had raffles and they had giveaways and prizes that you could like vote on and that you could purchase as well. And I remember that the person that I went with was this woman that was working in PRSA, and I had actually done my from my junior year going into my senior year, I had actually worked with her for a summer internship that was super fun. So it was just great because she was sort of like a mentor to me in a general way. She was a person who, you know, really looked after what I was doing in school and just kind of kept up with me when it came to, you know, all the different aspects within public relations that I was doing from a student standpoint, and then helping me get ready for the end of my senior year when I would be graduating and then going into the workforce. Well, I was at this event and she ended up buying me, like, I think it was maybe 10 or 12 raffle tickets, and there were all of these different prizes that you could win. Well, I literally ended up winning, like, of maybe what now I don't remember the specific amount, but what I would probably say was 10 to 12 different prizes that you could win. I probably ended up taking home like 3 or 4 of those prizes. So I just kept getting like the ticket that they would pick, and I would go up and I would collect my prize. One of those was this huge bottle of wine that I won. Now, I can't remember if this was a Maryhill bottle of wine, but that is the next part of the story. But I won this big bottle of wine, and I'll admit to you guys, I was really not at this time a wine person at all. I didn't like the taste of wine in a general way. The sweet stuff I could handle sometimes, but I definitely in a general way wasn't really much of a wine guy at this point in my life. I definitely am now, but when I was in school, you know, I kind of just like a lot of people are, just more of like a beer guy, you know, just give me some cheap beer and I'm good to go. Well, I ended up winning this big bottle of wine, and then the next prize that I won was this all-inclusive private tour of the Maryhill Winery, and that's also here in Washington State as well. Now, that was super cool because I was like, wow, like I've never been to a winery before, and again, I wasn't really that into wine, but obviously you get a prize like that, you're able to do that kind of experience. I mean, why not? Well, after that, so this was right near-ish the end of the year, and then graduation had happened, and then I was back in Tri-Cities hanging out with my parents, and we, you know, were making plans to make a weekend out of going to the Maryhill Winery for the prize that I'd won, but the prize was for 4 people. So it was just me and my parents, and then I'm like, man, who am I going to want to be the 4th person to come with me? Well, obviously you guys know Jesse Berg, or definitely know him just as well as my main man, Supreme Savage. But Jesse and I have been friends for a long, long time. And he was the only person that I really knew that really enjoyed wine, and I'm like, Jesse, you have to come with me on this. Like, I won this free winery tour. It's going to be so much fun. You have to come with me because A, you're the only person that I know that really enjoys wine, and B, you know, we've been friends for so long, like, why would you not want to come and have this awesome time with me? So, my parents and Jesse and I all go down to the Maryhill Winery, and we leave from Tri-Cities and go do this whole event. It was literally so much fun. And it was so cool because the night before we left, Jesse and I had actually, so Jesse had stayed with me at my parents' place, and we had gone out and we had like got some cheese and crackers and like wine just to kind of like test it out, to sort of get me more ready for just the overall event itself of doing the tour. And that night was really kind of the first time where I was like, oh wow, whoa, like, you know, your head kind of explodes, and it's just one of those moments where you just sort of get it. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I finally started to have my first foray into really, okay, I understand why this is enjoyable. I understand why people like to drink wine, and it's maybe not as bad as I initially thought that it was. So we go down to Maryhill on that Saturday to do the tour at the winery, and we literally had the best time. And it was my first experience with a winery before, and for them to be able to do a private tour, a tasting, like they took us around the entire grounds. They showed us, you know, where they have all their barrels underneath their kind of property area, and it was just so much fun. It was a great experience. And then we ended up driving back to Tri-Cities on the same day, and we ended up going to a couple of the wineries there on Red Mountain. Now, for those of you guys, because I'm sure that, you know, for ladies and gentlemen, for all of you, maybe not every single one of you are here in the state of Washington, but you've kind of got two major areas when it comes to wine on the West Coast. Obviously, you've got stuff like the Sonoma Valley and that whole area in California, and then you've got Red Mountain in Washington. And so we ended up going to like one or two of the wineries on our way back, and that was the birth of Wine Weekend. That's where it all started, was Jesse and I started with this winery tour because I had won that prize, and then we came home and my parents took us to a couple other wineries that were there on Red Mountain, and from that moment on, Jesse and I were just hooked on Red Mountain, on just wine, and just the experience of all of it. And so, ever since then, every single year since I graduated from college, we have been going, and you know, over the years, like, you know, that first time it was just Jesse and I. The second year, I think it might have just been Jesse and I again, and then we had like a couple more of our friends hear about it, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Now, the biggest year that we've had was 14 people overall. So that's including my parents and 14 of my friends, you know, fraternity brothers and girlfriends and wives and just, you know, all sorts of stuff. So much fun. And so when we do Wine Weekend, you know, since the majority of us are here in the Seattle area, we'll just do kind of like a big caravan. We'll head over to my parents' place. And I mean, like I said, you know, when I was telling you guys about the Father's Day thing, that, you know, my parents let us stay there for the weekend, and they just have such a great time because it's just so much fun. It's so wild and rambunctious, and everybody's just having a great time. And so we'll get there on Friday night, and we'll always do some sort of dinner thing. So we'll always go out either to a restaurant, or maybe we'll, you know, do a barbecue. But most of the time we do the barbecue on Saturday night. So most of the time we're going out to some restaurant in the Tri-Cities for Friday night. So we'll go out to dinner, and then we'll come home, we'll crack some wine, you know, we'll just kind of, we have this really cool backyard area where we've got this fire pit, and, you know, there's a lot of, like, trees in our backyard and stuff, so it's just super fun. But yet, at the same time, when you're coming from Seattle to Tri-Cities, you are really leaving that much more moderate, more wet climate, and coming over to Tri-Cities is literally like being in the desert, just in the sense of its overall, you know, the weather and how it is over there. It's really, really hot. It's really dry. So you feel like, even though you're really only driving 3.5 hours from Seattle, you really feel like it's a true vacation, on top of the fact that you're just having so much fun for the overall weekend doing the winery tours. So we'll go out on Friday night, come home, crack some wine, go out in our backyard, you know, just hang out. And then on Saturday morning, we will go out on Saturday, we'll go out and do a huge winery tour of Red Mountain. And so we always, or at least for as long as I can remember, we always start at this really incredible winery called Tapteel. And Tapteel's this really small place where, not like a hole in the wall, but just comparatively to some of these massive wineries, like the size of them and the square footage, this place is definitely really small, but their wine is just incredible. And so for me personally, I'm a massive red wine fan. And that is because of the fact that all white wines taste very good. But it's always more difficult, at least to me, to be able to differentiate white wines as easily as you can with red wines. And I feel like, to me, if you've had just your 5 most amazing bottles of wine, or just glasses of wine, the ones that I can remember more than any others are the red wines that just absolutely just blew the top of my head off with their flavor, with the rich, full body of some of the red wines that you get at Red Mountain, because of the fact that in Washington, and in Red Mountain specifically, the way that the weather happens, that's what changes the flavor overall of the wines. That's why when you have a glass of wine from Red Mountain, comparatively to something like from California, from Sonoma Valley or something like that, the taste is going to be so different. because you've got a more temperate, moderate climate in that area where, yes, you have some differentiating ideas of colder in the wintertime and hotter in the summer, but not like in Tri-Cities where you've got these frigid, freezing, you know, getting close to zero winters at times, and then these extremely hot, like 95 to like 105 summers. So you have this intense degrees of separation from how cold it can be in the wintertime and how hot it can be in the summertime, and that changes the flavor of the wine, and you get such a different mixture, and the type of wines and the varietals that grow there are just different. And so then there's several other wineries that we'll go to. Usually we'll try to hit about 4 to 6 over the whole course of the day. Then we will go from the wineries, and then we'll go usually to like Costco or Safeway or something, pick up just a ton of food, and then we'll go home and just do a big barbecue with everybody, and everybody just, again, out in the backyard, we're all hanging out, and we make a great meal. So just to give you guys an idea, last year when we did it, we had, you know, steaks, we had lobster tails, we had fish, I mean, we had like some type of pasta, like we had this incredible salad, like we just made all sorts of stuff. This year we did a chorizo mixed with like a like ground beef hamburger. We also did, Jesse had made this incredible pasta that was just amazing. And we also did another salad again, but it was just kind of this really fun time to where everybody, after we've gotten done with all those wineries, like everybody's pretty toasty, we're feeling great, everybody's having such a good time. And again, like I said, it's also so hot there, so it feels like this total different climate, and it feels like a different vacation because you just don't get that type of thing from Tri-City or from Seattle. And so we'll always do a dinner on Saturday night, and then, you know, Sunday we kind of just hang out and, you know, chill around in the morning for a little bit and then head home. But that's what Wine Weekend is, and that is why for myself and Jesse and for all of my friends that go, and for the ones that are consistently coming, you know, for several years, and then other ones that like, oh, you know, maybe they're here last year but they weren't able to come this year, you know, that type of thing. It's just, it's my most looked forward to event of the entire year. And you know, I've probably got 2 or 3 overall events throughout the year that are usually consistent where, you know, somebody like Wes's birthday is always a really fun event, or Jesse's day after Thanksgiving party is always an amazingly fun event. And I look forward to all of those, but my Wine Weekend is also something that I look so forward to every year. And again, like I said, because I talked about it a little bit with the Father's Day thing, I just wanted to be able to bring you guys kind of the overall story and let you know why that overall event is so much fun. But just to let you guys know, I'm actually going to do another video on this topic from this year's Wine Weekend just a couple weeks ago, because we actually went to a brand new winery for the first time in all the years that we've been doing Wine Weekend. And it was sort of an idea that I had told people after we got done with all the wineries, that I was like, that's a once in a decade type of experience that we just had at that winery, and I wanted to do a whole nother video just to showcase the winery, just the people that we met there, and everything about the overall experience, just to give you guys even a little bit more detail about if you're maybe not as much of a wine person, or it's not really something that you've had much experience with. Something like this could be a great reason of like, wow, maybe I really at least want to check it out and just see what I think about it as well. But, you know, you guys, you know where you are. You've got it locked right here on the channel with your boy, IPG Red, Purple, Gold. So make sure to keep following along with me here on the channel. You guys, I love each and every one of you so much. I actually feel like I haven't said this in a little bit, but I just wanted to, again, thank each and every one of you for all of the love, all of the support, and just everybody following on these videos. Thank you so much for everything that you do. But you guys, keep it locked right here on the channel with your boy, IPG Red, Purple, Gold. So until I come with that next video, peace.